We're talking about lag. Yes, we are. Lag is one of these areas of the golf swing that so many of you at home want to see in your golf swing. You want to see it, and what you try to do in order to get it is you start going down this pathway where you give your smallest muscles in the golf swing a very big job. And unfortunately, that's what creates the chaos in the first place. Now listen, when it comes to golf instruction, it's all over the map, and none of us agree on anything. But I will tell you this right now, that drills that teach you in order to get lag into your golf swing, that you should be setting an abundance of angle very early on in the swing shape and then trying to preserve that angle and turn your body through the hitting area, are not what I would consider responsible drills for the whole grand scheme of things. That's not what's really happening in the golf swing. What's happening in the golf swing when you watch the best men and women in the world is that under no circumstance are they actually trying to produce and preserve lag. Lag is simply a byproduct of the body moving in a very specific sequence. That's right, you're playing a game that requires you to move your body in space in a very specific sequence for you to be able to produce real club head speed and real control. A lot of you are wired to think that a good backswing is actually complete when your hands and arms get to a certain spot or the club gets to a certain spot. And I can assure you of this. I'll make you this promise. If you were to come here to Orlando and do private instruction with me, or if you were to come over to the website and do a virtual lesson with me, I can assure you, if you said, Chris, I want you to look at my backswing, under no circumstance am I gonna look at your hands and your arms and your golf club first. In fact, I'm gonna look at it from your setup position, to the load process into your trail leg, to what your hips are doing, to what your torso is doing, to what your head is doing, and then out through the hands and the arms, and then the golf club. I do not watch it in any other order. And the reason why I watch it in that order is because that's the sequence of movements that needs to take place. Now, a little analogy I like to give people before we start going down this pathway is I like to show people a takeaway position and a 9 o'clock position. That 9 o'clock position is then going to turn into our downswing position into the hitting area. And I want you to watch this very closely. When you watch the best men and women in the world and you watch them start their golf swing, they're going to shift their weight and turn their body, okay? Turning about 45 degrees would be a signal for when the takeaway is complete. Now, if you look at the golf club, the club shaft is about parallel to the ground. All I've done at this point with my hands and my arms is I've just kept my hands and arms straight and I've supported the golf club. What I mean by support the golf club is if I were to take my lead arm only and I was to turn my body and shift my weight 45 degrees, well, if I don't support the club head is pulling down on my wrist. It's very, very heavy. So subconsciously what my brain does is it helps support the club and get it so it doesn't feel so heavy. That's what actually is happening in the takeaway in the backswing. And the same thing applies as we start to move from the takeaway up to the top of the backswing. Now going from that takeaway position to the 9 o'clock spot, if I just turn my body and elevate my arms, now you can see that the club shaft, instead of being parallel to the ground, is actually almost perpendicular to the ground. So what I did there was I continued to turn my body and support the club. I wasn't giving the club these major wrist inputs. I wasn't trying to create this big activation through my smallest muscles. Think about if you were to be a basketball player going to get a rebound. You couldn't just jump up out of the ground and be able to jump really high. You would have to stretch it down and then go up, right? And the same thing would apply if you start getting your wrists these big inputs, then what's gonna happen? Well, you're gonna start the stretch shortening cycle and your wrists are gonna start to fire the club out away from you. That's why these drills that oversetting the wrists or saving it all for the top of the backswing are a bad idea. You want things in moderation. Now, looking at this position in 9 o'clock. So club shaft is almost parallel to the ground here, right? Or perpendicular to the ground. This doesn't look like a lot of angle. It doesn't look like that Sergio Garcia angle. It doesn't look like I'm a Lagosaurus Rex. But I want you to look at this angle, and I'm gonna try to keep my arm structure kind of right where it is and the wrist right where it is. And I'm just gonna go ahead and shift my weight, turn my hips left, or open my hips up, I should say. Now, if you look down in front of my body, what do you see? You see the angle that you would see of all the best players in the world from an angle that didn't look all that sharp at the 9 o'clock position. So how did we get there? Well, we got there by staying wide and supporting the club and then working on the proper sequence of movements. And the same thing applies when you start to go to the top of the backswing. I want you to feel wide and I want you to feel like all you're doing is supporting the club. A lot of you at home are gonna feel like your arms are extended way out away from your body. You're gonna feel like the club shaft is pointed like this, but when you look at it on camera, you're gonna be very surprised to see that the club is actually set in a really good spot. If I had $1 For every single one of you that I've worked with, either privately or online, that swears up and down you're just making these chest tight to chest tight swings, and we look at it on camera and it's wrapped around your neck, then you and I would have enough money to buy our own private island and put our own private golf course on it. That's how many times I see this. And I know a lot of you at home are probably chuckling because that's you, right? Now, remember, the signal for the golf swing or the backswing being complete is not when your hands and your arms fold up and the club gets to a certain spot. The signal is through your weight shift and your body turn. Now, how do we start this process of getting this right though? Well, we're gonna start out by getting ourselves into a setup position, okay? And all we're gonna do is take the club and just let it fall out of our hands and cross our arms over our shoulders. And we're gonna do 5, 6, 7 reps where we just pressure shift and turn our body. And I want you to feel through your body what you're feeling here. How much pressure do you feel in your trail side? Well, I feel 90%. How much body turn do I feel like I have? Well, I feel like I've turned my body 90 degrees. I can feel my midsection turned here. I can feel some coiling up. Take note of what you're feeling there. Okay, keep doing this until you become very aware of the body movements. Once you become aware of the body movements, pick the club back up. And all I want you to do is make that same movement happen to the top of the backswing. And I want you to feel like your hands and your arms are as wide as you can get them, and the club shaft is as wide as you can get them. I promise you, your trail arm is gonna flex, and your wrists are gonna set. The club is gonna be in a great spot for you. So now, go ahead and we're gonna do 2 reps where we're just drilling to the top. We're gonna focus on weight shift and body turn. We're gonna feel like our hands are extended, and the club shaft is extended. It's gonna feel like it's like this at the top of the swing. Okay? So weight shift and body turn. Okay? Feel like you're extended. So every 2 reps, you're gonna make a full swing. Now, if we were to go look at that full swing in slow motion, we would see that my hands and my arms are in a full backswing position. The club is set very much like you would see of the best players in the world. On the way down, I can sequence my downswing better because I loaded up in the proper sequence, and now it's easier for me to fire in the right sequence. Your brain responds to muscle tension. So if you're giving your smallest muscles a whole lot of tension early on in the swing shape, it's going to be nearly impossible for you to be able to preserve the angle that you're looking for. So you want to think about your backswing as load and rotation, wide and support. That's it. So think about your arms being wide, think about supporting the club head upright, and that's it. You get those 3 things done, and you're gonna have a golf swing now that's much easier for us to manage on the way down. And you're gonna find that your preservation of lag is just like you would see of the best players in the world. Let's do it one more time. Arms across the shoulders, pressure shift, body turn. Okay, this is the movement I'm gonna be really focused on right here. Coupled back with my arms feeling wide and the club shaft feeling really wide. I'm gonna do 2 reps, same thing. Third rep, I'm gonna swing through. Okay, if I felt connected to it, then you can go ahead and hit a golf shot. Okay guys, so there you have it. Stop trying to get lag by oversetting your wrists. Stop trying to get lag by letting your arms collapse at the top of the swing. Get your body moving in the right sequence. Get your arms to stay wide and support the club a little bit. And you're gonna have a much easier time being able to sequence the downswing and being able to preserve that precious angle that you're gonna turn into a whole bunch of speed. Good luck. Let's make it a great day.